Now, I'll tell you, Monday morning is looking a little bit more pleasant through the maritime provinces. For the most part, it's going to be cloudy, even in around St. John's. It's not going to be a bad day, except your temperatures will be mild for the first half of the day and then quickly cool. And then for Tuesday, it's going to be a whole lot cooler. Your winds are going to shift direction. There is the potential for rain in Newfoundland, especially western Newfoundland, 10-20 millimeters through the day. And then for St. John's, from about 1 o'clock in the afternoon Monday until 5 p.m., you have the risk for showers, but it really won't be much. Much like we're seeing across Ontario. Now, it's more so going to be Tuesday morning through Tuesday evening in southern Ontario, and that could be 5 to 10 millimeters of rain by Tuesday night. Across the north, heaviest hit areas like in around Geraldton, we're talking about 15 to 30 millimeters of rain, and it is mild enough for rain for the most part. Thunder Bay, 5 degrees on Monday. That will be a daytime high of -7 by Tuesday, so you really cool behind the system, and so that rain will be transitioning into snow. Now, most of this snow is done for Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Really, it's going to be a quiet week ahead in terms of active weather in the prairies. There's still some lingering snow in northern Manitoba, but most of it is now moving into northern Ontario. Now, take a look at British Columbia, because this is probably one of the more active weather stories this week. Not a bad day Monday, although quite windy and around Haida Gwaii. There are wind warnings in place. We have rain returning to Vancouver Island late day Monday and Vancouver as we head into early Tuesday morning. And nothing too heavy, just a typical kind of rainy Tuesday morning. Potential for snow historically across the country for a white Christmas. Areas in the dark blue, best chance for seeing a white Christmas, and areas in white as well. But while we're on the topic of Christmas, Chrissy Van took to the streets to find out what people enjoy about the holiday. You know, it's not very Christmassy? Fog. I associate it more with Halloween, I suppose. But whenever you see the squiggly lines like we're seeing from many parts of the country, it represents fog. So Monday morning, again, fog is going to be a huge story. We'll talk about that. But in our next segment, the countdown to winter begins. We'll talk about that next. And let's not forget that winter has not even officially begun yet. But now that Sunday has come and gone, we are down to 6 days. The 6-day countdown until winter officially begins next Sunday, December the 21st. Of course, that will be the shortest day of the year with our least amount of daylight. And then from then on, starting next Monday, we're looking at days getting progressively longer. Each and every day, slowly but surely. So good news there. It will be the return of longer days before you know it. Now, before we take a look at Ottawa's 7-day forecast, I want to showcase where it already looks like winter. Don't tell these kids winter hasn't officially begun yet, but there's so much about this video that I love. Ottawa has had this interesting teeter-totter of temperatures, much like most of the country, where you have the cold air followed by a warm stretch. And we're going to get into some pretty seasonal temperatures by the end of the week. Monday morning, watch for fog right through the Ottawa Valley, through southern Quebec. This is going to be the interesting story, though, for Tuesday, with temperatures around the freezing mark. Freezing rain will be possible from about lunch until dinner time in around Ottawa and maybe even Montreal. So in the long-range forecast across the eastern half of the country, we obviously have rain and snow from Monday into Tuesday for the north. In the south, though, Toronto, for example, it looks like rain for Tuesday morning right through the evening. We're not talking about a lot of rain, but potentially 5 to 10 millimeters for most of southern and central Ontario. And again, Ottawa, Montreal, it could be a freezing rain event. Now, as far as Atlantic Canada is concerned, fairly quiet over the next few days, but that same system by Wednesday night into Thursday brings rain to the Maritimes. Now, what about the west? Well, Alberta is looking gorgeous. Alberta has certainly the potential for fog into Monday morning as well, but Laura, beautiful shots of all the snow on the trees. The interesting story about Alberta and really the prairies as a whole, you've had a few mild days. Now we're going to be back to more seasonal temperatures. Edmonton should be around -7 at this time of year, and actually it'll be a couple of degrees warmer than that for most of the week ahead. So no real cold air, just kind of typical air. So as far as the long range is concerned across the west, quiet across the prairies, but we do see the return of rain showers to British Columbia really late Monday night into Tuesday morning. Rain showers make their way onto the coast, and then it becomes an unsettled pattern. No major storm heading your way, but it will be a little bit soggier as we head through the second half of the week. And what about that fog we per liter? I don't know about you, but we're paying some of our lowest prices since 2009 here in southern Ontario, and experts are saying, you know what, maybe people will spend more on their Christmas presents this year, and that's always good for local retailers, for the local economy. As we take a look at our forecast, though, heading into Monday morning, fog is going to be a big issue. There are advisories in the north and in southwestern Ontario as well. There is no advisory for the city of Toronto, but we certainly have it in our forecast, and it could persist into the afternoon. So fog is a big story for Monday, much like we saw through the day on Sunday. This talks about temperatures, though, and when the yellows and whites appear, those are temperatures at the freezing mark or even above. So we certainly have some mild air. That's going to be one of our big stories over the next 3 or 4 days. It's mild enough in Thunder Bay and Geraldton to actually see rain through the day Monday, but they'll cool by a good 10 to 15 degrees into Tuesday. It will become snow. And this doesn't really incorporate our rain for Tuesday. It only goes out till Tuesday morning. And we could see some showers in the GTA for Tuesday morning, but our better chance is actually going to be through the afternoon and into the evening. We're talking 5 to maybe 10 millimeters of rain. Not very wintry, right? Well, what does our winter outlook have in store? Our winter outlook encore presentation is coming up at the top of the hour between 2 and 6. Fog was an issue, and actually Tony sent me a tweet at about 10:30 on Sunday night saying, you know what, it's foggy here, there's drizzle, but it's mild at 8 degrees. And often at this time of year when you get the mild air at night over the cold ground or over melting snow, you do get fog. And once again, as we head into Monday morning, fog is going to be an issue for parts of Alberta where fog advisories are in effect, and into Saskatchewan as well, most of Ontario, into southern Quebec, and for parts of Atlantic Canada, fog is going to be an issue. So let's break down Monday's big weather stories. We have snow or rain in northern Ontario, just depending on the time of day. For example, Thunder Bay, it's rain all day, and then late afternoon through the evening, it will transition over into snow. So northern Ontario certainly active. It looks like this low will stay offshore in Newfoundland. So really, it's not that busy of a weather day. It's all going to be about temperatures as they continue to cool across the prairies back to seasonal values. Now, most of the snow for the eastern prairies is done. Winnipeg, I wouldn't rule out some flurries very early Monday morning. Snow obviously to the north, but it's more so snow in northern Ontario, and I mentioned the rain already to the north as well. We could see in the hardest hit areas about 15 to 30 millimeters of rain and under 10 millimeters of rain for most of Atlantic Canada. Through the Maritimes in particular, this is pretty much done. You know, a drizzly shower early Monday morning. Western Newfoundland, you could see some heavier amounts of rain. And of course, as we get into the Maritimes at the higher elevations in northern Nova Scotia, perhaps some snow as we head into Monday morning. Speaking of snow, it's looking gorgeous through parts of northern Alberta. And basically, Laura, the bigger story for Alberta will be your temperatures. They're not as mild as they have been as of late, back to seasonal values. And I mentioned the fog advisories in place. Also, some wind warnings in British Columbia ahead of your next system. Vancouver, dry for Monday, but rain in the forecast for Tuesday from coast to coast. No one is below seasonal, so no one is into that cold kind of air just yet. You know, places like Winnipeg by Tuesday will get into temperatures slightly below seasonal, but nothing too cold. Now, the deeper the purple, the colder the air. And as we head through the next several days, you're going to see some of those purple colors moving into, you know, northern Ontario, northern Quebec. But for the most part, there is not a cold snap this week heading anywhere across the country. So if you're not a fan of the cold, that's good news for you. I mentioned this earlier, but the biggest active weather story for Monday is certainly going to be in northern Ontario. Thunder Bay, for example, 5 degrees on Monday afternoon. That's going to be rain for you. But then by Tuesday, a daytime high of -7. So you cool by over 10 degrees, and you'll see that transition from rain into snow. So it's a bit of a messy couple of days in northern Ontario. Vancouver, great start to the day if you're heading out the door Monday morning. Sunshine, 2 degrees, and you'll warm up to 6-7 degrees in the afternoon. Calgary, -7 to start the day, warming up to about -2, -3 in the afternoon, but plenty of sunshine through most of the week. Regina, cloudy start to the day, maybe a stray flurry here or there, -6. Warmer than you've seen as of late in terms of your morning temperatures. And then for Winnipeg as well, cloud cover. I wouldn't rule out a flurry to start, but then improving conditions through the afternoon. Take a look at the fog in Toronto and most of southern Ontario, much like we saw on Sunday morning. 2 degrees to start to the day, likely warming up to 4 or 5 degrees into the afternoon. Montreal, for those morning commuters, -4 to start, feeling a little cooler when you factor in the winds. And again, cloud cover. Halifax, 1 degree in cloud cover. St. John's, 8 degrees, but you are going to be cooling through the day, so it's going to be an early day kind of high for you. And then a much cooler day for Tuesday. What does the rest of the long range look like? Chris St. Clair has it next. So always for a good cause, obviously. We're going to talk a little bit more about Christmas coming up in just a moment with Chrissy Van. I did want to talk about the potential for fog right here in southern Ontario again Monday morning. It's going to be very similar to what we saw Sunday morning. But as far as active weather is concerned, our best chance is going to be through Tuesday. Now, for your Tuesday morning commute, there may be some stray showers, but the better chance is actually going to be through the afternoon and into your evening commute. So this doesn't really incorporate the Tuesday evening and afternoon rain. This is just through Tuesday morning. But again, in the city of Toronto, we're talking 5 millimeters of rain, max up to 10 right across southern Ontario. It's not the busiest active weather story we'll ever see, but this week, fingers crossed it holds true, but this week is not looking that active. It's all about temperatures, and they remain fairly mild. I mean, 2 degrees in Toronto Monday morning to start, above seasonal for this time of year, 4 degrees in London. That just represents some drizzly conditions, and we've had reports of drizzly conditions really over the last few hours in southwestern Ontario. But all of those symbols represent fog. If you ever see that kind of squiggly line show up in your local forecast, I think fog is going to be our bigger story for Monday morning, and then Tuesday morning we'll more so be talking about rain. Now, this map here takes a look at historical data and gives us our potential for seeing a white Christmas. Here in southern Ontario, we're in that 50 to 80% chance. I know I don't have any snow left in Guelph. We'll have to see if we have a snowstorm between now and December 25th. But let's talk Christmas for a moment and what we do to prepare for Christmas with Chrissy Van. There was no snow out there. It's certainly not looking very Christmassy, and fog is not very Christmassy as well. I mentioned this earlier, but it's more like Halloween. And the potential for fog to persist into the afternoon is certainly possible. So if you're a truck driver, if you do a lot of commuting, keep that in mind. It likely will be a foggy day, but at least we're going to have some mild air ahead. By the way, the winter season officially begins next Sunday. We'll talk about that next.
This weather